So, yeah, just what Nick said, that's it really. I've taken a slightly different approach, and I have been preparing a couple of slides for the last hour or so. And I go right back round to the beginning and think about what I talked about at the beginning of the day, which was our AGI foresight report. And the thing that is comforting in many ways is that there's a lot of the trends and things that have come out of today which are in our report as well. So it's great to be in a room like this and continuing the discussion out of the foresight report. So, as a reminder, within the report, we had this section which is called Strategic Calls to Action. So it's a 5-year roadmap, and it points to suggestions for industry, government, and membership organisations, such as ours, such as BCS. And much of the content within here is reflected in many of the themes that we've talked about all day today. But I just wanted to pull out a few key points in here. These are direct quotes that have come from the Foresight report that, sorry if there's mistypes in here, because I've literally typed this up in 10 or 15 minutes earlier on. But when we've talked around all the themes and all the things that have come out of all the tables, many of the things that I've put on the screen here, these are the recommendations that were made to membership organisations. So I've been thinking about this from the point of view of, I represent AGI here, there's BCS here, other membership bodies, RGS, ROCS and so on have been here. And so I wanted to think about the recommendations from today and how we as those membership organisations should be representing the community. So I'm just going to talk through some of these because they are interesting and I think they reflect back on some of the topics today. But this idea that you're championing geography over geospatial profession is quite interesting. I can see Ed nodding because you know there's the proud geographer that you talk about a lot, and I think we at AGI really support that, the principle of that. And the great thing about today is this idea of us all coming together and collectively sharing thinking and all working together to address challenges and grab opportunities. There's this thing around bridging the communication gap. We've talked a lot around that today as well, about communication. How do we communicate and translate outside of our own world? There's a very mixed room here today, but it is still somewhat an echo chamber. There's a lot of familiar faces, everyone knows everyone. We need to be taking what we've learned today and getting it out more widely into other communities. That's one of my really key takeaways that I'd push across to everyone. We as membership organisations have this convening power to help facilitate collaboration. And that's really come through today, I think. I think, you know, really massive congratulations to Seppi and the team for convening this sort of event, which is not easy at all when you're volunteers. And I think I'm intending to steal the format for a couple of AGI events that we've got coming up later this year. But yeah, it's fantastic. This idea of being neutral, enable evidence-based advocacy. So providing specific examples of the value and benefit of geospatial. So that's come out all day today. You know, how do we use visualization to tell stories in the right way? And then positioning for the embedded future. So prepare for a world where geography is everywhere, but geospatial expertise is invisible. I really like that quote. So I've put these on the page. There's a lot more in the report. Go and have a look at it. But these are the things that came through out of the report that I thought were reflected here today. The other thing I've done, these have probably got sort of copyright or trademarks against them. These were some really nice new phrases, buzzwords that I've captured. There's probably a few others as well, and I haven't put names next to them, but I love the idea of the pixel passport, Love the idea of self-declaring data. Someone mentioned the misinformation resistance. That's a brilliant concept. This idea that friction is needed. So there's the concept of everything becoming frictionless and things flowing, and we should be introducing some friction to make sure things are done right. We were just chatting on our table about the idea of the 5-year-old test. So can a 5-year-old understand it? And if they can, it passes the test. And that's quite interesting when we're out in the world explaining what this technology can do. I like the idea of using evidence ethically and imaginatively. That's a really nice phrase. And then this idea that interoperability is a public good. Thought that was brilliant as well. So yeah, they were just some things that I scribbled down. Now, finally, just before I finish, I'm going to help to sort of bridge between two things. One is what Sepe was talking about. Also to talk about what I've had a play with a large language model. So I gave this cue on the right. I'm meeting a friend of mine at 5:30 who's an actuary who works around the corner. I'm meeting my friend Andy the actuary in the pub at 5:30. Draw me a map of good pubs close to Trinity House, London. This makes me not fear for our sort of roles too much. It's interesting how it's getting better, I think, this sort of thing. Well, I sent this to my friend Andy, who I'm meeting later, who works around the corner. Gemini has actually produced a pub here called Andy's Anchor, which doesn't exist. But it is in the site of an old Brewdog tenancy, apparently. So there's an opportunity there, that led us down a sort of rabbit hole of conversation on WhatsApp when I sent this to him earlier today. But just sort of, for me, it's really interesting how this technology is upon us. But when I look at things like this, I see opportunity rather than too much concern at the moment. And I'll leave it there, I think. Thank you.